Welcome to the Hayhurst Brothers Podcast with your host, Paul Risse.
Y'all are still doing that?
Yep.
You don't have to.
That's what starts the video.
Yeah.
It syncs up the audio in the video.
I think what starts it is saying, welcome to the 12th video.
Wait. Is it a video or a podcast?
Podcast. Welcome to the 12th podcast.
Thanks, Dan.
That's
Appreciate it.
Good intro, Dan.
Thanks.
This is the second one you've done with us.
It is.
It's an honor.
It is an honor to have
It
Dan
is-
on the podcast
It is
today.
cool to be with the cool crowd like y'all.
Yeah. It's a Hayhurst sandwich for me.
Nice, Paul.
Yeah.
You're the meat.
Well, or the cheese or the sauerkraut or whatever.
If you're gonna have a sandwich, I would much rather and you just have one thing on it. I would rather it be meat than cheese.
Most definitely. And definitely more than sauerkraut.
What about
There's only one thing between the bread.
a BLT or grilled cheese?
Give me the bacon.
Okay. Yeah.
Grilled cheese with
Grilled
some
cheese-
tomato soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you have a BLT and I have the option of having either bacon, lettuce, or tomato in between my bread, give me the bacon.
I'm going bacon. And next I'm going to go tomato.
Turkey avocado.
Lettuce is last.
Lettuce is definitely last.
Turkey avocado.
Give me the turkey.
Yep. Okay, so today's a really fun day because we've been doing these for a while, and usually we ask questions, and then you ask us questions. That doesn't make sense, but I said it. So we ask you if you have questions, then you ask us questions, and we answer your questions. But today,
That's right.
we've come to a really unique place with our podcast and our business, and we've had some realizations that we've always been living and building according to, but we've put some words to it. And I would like for Jake or Dan to kind of say
I wouldn't say it's a realization, Paul.
tell me what it is, Jake.
Realization's not a bad
We're
word.
putting what we've done in our core values into a tagline or a name or the core of what we do, but it's not a realization. It's like this is what we do. I'm not realizing it right now for the first
Well,
time.
we
Well,
are
haven't-
realizing the words.
Why haven't we done it this whole time then?
We do it.
I know, but why haven't we used these words? Because we realize these words are what encompass the
That's
heart
right.
of what we do.
It's like a realization.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but
What is that realization?
come on, Jake, talk to us.
So we have not just realized this, but we've been doing it. See, Paul?
Nice.
Okay, but what that is the core value of why we're building homes and who we are and what we do is family forward, to bring families together. And we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but Daniel and I, growing up, our relationship, I believe, is attributed to, one, we always had to share a bedroom, which I think is important. You know, different people are different. Parents don't agree with me. But sharing a room with a sibling grows a bond that you can't replace. Which is why my daughters, even though we have more bedrooms, they share a room, because there's nothing greater than my wife and I laying in bed at night and hearing them talk and giggle and laugh and build that relationship. And there's no other way around it because they have to spend time together. So building that into our homes, and even waking up in the morning early, and we would have to iron our clothes, we'd have to get ready, we'd have to do our chores, we got to have at 5:30 every morning. And we had to iron our clothes every day. But that being said,
We had to iron our underwear. So
we actually did, which is a little extreme.
I'm just saying it's true.
I bet they're warm.
Yeah, they were. But what that did is it instilled responsibility into who we are. It instilled work ethic. But also, my mom made sure we all got up in time to eat breakfast around the table. So we would start our day as a family around the table, communicating, conversating, talking about one another's day, and then we'd always end the day around the table, which is why, you know, our homes have large living spaces and make sure there's ample space for a big dining room, because hopefully the family's going to grow.
A big dining table. Not so
Thank
much
you.
a room itself.
Yeah, that's right. Daniel's right. I said big dining room for space for a big dining room. But really, I mean, our drive, we're one of 6 kids, 2 of 6 kids, is to encourage family and to encourage young parents to have a family and have more kids and just experience the life that we grew up with. And so, you know, I think that's kind of a long way around to put it, but we realized, you know, what that is it's the nuclear family. The nuclear family is a husband and a wife having children and doing life together.
And the extended family of that.
Yeah.
Because it grows, and now you have children, and I have
And
children,
you have
and
children.
we're close. And
Paul has children.
and
Yes.
we've extended the nuclear family is kind of like extended family even.
Yeah. So, I think what the realization is, right, Paul, is we are going to start branding ourselves as Hayhurst Brothers Nuclear Family Homes, because that's what we're driven towards. We're driven towards family and building a home instead of just a house.
Yeah, and I can say, just working with y'all from the beginning, that is the core of why they build. It's their heart behind why they build. And my sister Sarah, she messaged me the other day, and she said, "I don't know how Jake deals with your sarcasm." And I was like, Jake is more sarcastic than me.
No way.
But I'm just saying that to say I'm not being sarcastic right now. I'm being like, this is non-sarcasm moment. Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
The Hayhurst brothers, they care about families, they care about homes, they care about quality, and they care about rebuilding America. And that way, with that as the foundation of the business, and Nuclear Family Homes encompasses that. It encompasses how we build, why we build, and it's the heartbeat of everything. So be looking for that on billboards, on some of our portfolios, and as that kind of like the foundation for which we're kind of understood from our nation's perspective.
Yeah, and I think maybe going a little deeper on this, the average American family has, I think, we were talking to a gentleman the other day, very wise, probably in his 80s, and he said the average American family has 1.2 something kids. And his generation, he was one of like 8 kids, and his parents had 10 kids. I think this whole concept of having a family is growing smaller and smaller and smaller because people think it's getting harder to have kids, and you've got to have your family all perfect, and you've got to have all of this money in the bank, and everything has to be perfect before you start having kids. So people are kicking that can further and further and further down the road, and finally they look up and they're in their 30s and 40s, and they've got their career, but they don't have any children, so they don't have a legacy. And I think we need to get back to the roots of who we are as America and really start putting the family first and realizing you don't have to have everything together and perfect to have a family. We had our first child when my wife and I were 21 and 22, and I wouldn't change anything. And it's been wonderful. But I think society and the machine, if you will, is encouraging women to put their career first and freeze their eggs and wait until you get to this success level. And then even if you can't have kids, we can always bring your eggs back out and refertilize them, which is just the most wild concept to think about, instead of just doing it God's way and getting married, having children. And that's where real, true joy in life comes from, is family.
No doubt about it. I mean, you can start at 21 or 22, or you can start at 48. Thing is, just
nice,
make
Paul.
sure you do it. Right, Paul?
Yeah. How old were you, Dan?
I was 31.
10 years after me.
But I didn't get married until I was 29.
I was proud of you.
And I was wanting to get married.
I'm so happy when you have some kiddos, Dan. It makes
you.
me so happy to see y'all.
You too.
Thank you. So yeah, that's Nuclear Family Homes. It's the future.
It is.
We're also going to be having a nationwide push to sell our house plans. Mm-hmm. And our intention is this becomes a trend because those words, when they're played out across our landscape and in the mindsets of people, if it actually produces that, we'll be in a great spot. And I think our nation needs it. Do you have any other thoughts about the Nuclear Family Homes, Jake or Dan?
I mean,
I don't think so.
I was just asking.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
I think there's a small touch on it. You've got, it also encompasses our architecture style as well. The Atomic Ranch homes, it's a play on those words as
Mm-hmm.
well. The nuclear family, using the word nuclear. And so it helps play on the mid-century inspiration.
Yeah.
I was reading your things here. It says Zach at Cotton Port Tools or something. It's it's hard to read, Paul, as usual, but it seems like it says, is craftsmanship dead? And that plays right into what we're talking about.
Is that the question?
Well,
So it is hard to read.
Well, it's interesting. Jake said it's hard to read, and then he read it effortlessly.
It was, clearly it took a lot of effort for me to read it, Paul, but I was able to. So that also goes along with Nuclear Family Homes. The gentleman we were talking to, for instance, he was in his 80s, and he was talking about that his grandparents' home is still in their family. And I think that is also lost. You know, homes are being just thrown up. They're cheaply built. There's not intentionality behind them. The idea for us is building a family legacy home. And if it wants to make it through generations, if the family wants to keep it for 3 generations, the house will still be structurally sound, beautiful, and still serve the purpose it did originally, as opposed to these Cracker Jack boxes that are going up and just, you know, kind of throwaway homes. Unfortunately, I think we're losing the craftsmanship in our society with everything. Appliances nowadays are almost built to break. I've got a stand-up freezer that my in-laws got for their wedding in whenever, I don't know when they got married. Call it, let's
78.
See. No, it would have been 1982. And it still works.
Nice, Paul. Still works.
Still works. Works flawlessly. And they bought a new one to replace it and gave that one to us, and they've gone through 3 since they gave me that one. Therefore, again, just the throwaway society. And I think that has to turn. We have to turn a corner on that. We have to bring craftsmanship back. We have to bring intentionality. We have to bring passion back behind the products that we're building and selling. And so that's what drives us.
And yeah, every aspect of what we do, that is the intentionality behind it. And so to your point, the 3rd or 4th generation that would be getting these homes, they can still be very proud of them. And they're, you know, hopefully still a work of art at that time.
And bigger isn't always better. You know, we tell people all the time, well, I can't afford a house. Well,
no, you don't tell people that. People tell you that.
Yeah, they're telling us, well, I can't afford a house. I say, okay, what size house do you think you need? And they're like, oh, I got to have 3,000 square feet. And they, you know, it's like, why? Why not build something smaller that you can call your own? The gentleman that we were talking about, and I said that they still had their grandparents' home in their family. He had 21 kids. Now, this is not 21. His wives passed away and he'd had more kids, but 21 kids, and their house was 800 square feet. So people were able to make things happen, and they still have that home. If he would have just said, oh, I got all these kids, I got to have 5,000 square feet, they never would have bought a house. Right. They have a house, and it's still there, and it's still standing, and it's still a piece of history that they get to call their own. So I think that
I mean, it'd be semi-difficult to have 21 kids in 800 square feet.
I mean, it would.
But they did do it.
He also said that they got married at 14. They were cotton pickers. They were picking cotton, and the wife was literally picking cotton at the age of 15 and had the baby in the cotton field while she was picking cotton. And then she had to continue to pick cotton, so then she was nursing and carrying the baby as she was picking cotton. So it's just a different lifestyle altogether in a different time. But the fact of the matter is
us as humans can do a lot more than we think we're capable of, because they used to.
The other day I had a tab, and one was Facebook, one was Instagram, and I was like, back and forth, like at the same time.
Wow, Paul. That is impressive.
No, I'm serious. I mean, you try to read Instagram and not like let the algorithm pull you so far in that you can glance to your right at the same time.
Yeah, that is
just try it sometime, Jake.
Yeah, see, that's the difference.
Do we have any more questions, Paul?
No, we don't. But in some upcoming episodes, we're going to have Matt Hughes on. He's doing a really cool hotel here that we honestly can't wait to go and just participate in. And then we're having Tammy on from the city. She's the city manager, and she's amazing. So she has some cool announcements. And anything else?
I think I'm just kind of. I want to go back to what we were talking about just a little bit.
Oh, Jake's ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's rewind.
You know.
Nice, Paul.
Regardless of who builds your house, hopefully it's us. But if you're outside of our build range, find a builder that cares.
Yeah.
Driving around, I look at these homes that are being built, and there's no thought that goes into anything but the front of the house. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to find someone that's passionate, that cares, and really puts the thought into the home, to where no matter which side you look at the house, there's something about it that catches your eye. There's beauty involved. There's architecture. There's intentionality. because so many homes that are being built now, they're just putting, I mean, I think it's still ugly, but a facade on the front of brick or stone and a few gables or whatever. It's just a box, and then you walk around the side of the house and it's just this empty blank wall. Same on the back, and it's just some siding, and there's no thought to anything but the front of the house. And so I think we've lost the beauty in architecture, but there's still people out there that care. There's still people out there that are doing it, and it doesn't cost that much more money. I mean, I think we are price point wise, we're very comparable to a lot of these builders that are just building a box. I mean, we really are.
Yeah, and so if you're outside of our build radius, I mean, you could buy one of our house plans and have someone build it. Because going back to intentionality, we really think through the livability of the homes, all the way to the point of, like, I think every one of our plans except for one, the kitchen is on an outside wall, so we can make sure you have a nice window over your sink. You know, things like that we're not just throwing a plan together, because we're thinking about living in the home. And I know I like to look out the window when I'm doing the dishes, and that lets that natural light in. Just things like that.
Windows. That's a good point, Daniel. Most builders are going to put as few windows in a house as humanly possible because it costs more money. Glass is expensive. Windows are expensive, but you're losing that natural light, and especially in a box as opposed to a rectangle. But find someone that is putting windows in a home. Each bedroom doesn't just get one 3x5 window. Think about the natural light and, vitamin D. There's so many aspects that go into it, but I think windows in a home are so important. Finding someone that's willing to put a nice window in there and enough windows as opposed to the bare minimum.
Yeah, one of our goals is you can walk into one of our homes, any of our homes, and not have to turn a light on, because
even on a cloudy day like today.
Exactly.
Right, Paul?
Yep. Another thing is that our estimator, Seth, he's been doing an amazing job, and we've been working as a company to lower the cost of our homes. We just realized what the dollar's worth these days. People deal with inflation. They're feeding their kids. They're working. We understand. So I would say in the last month, we've been updating the prices on our website. So if you haven't been to our website in a while, hayhurstbrothers.com, all of our portfolios have come down between 30 and 70,000, depending on the portfolio. So go check out those prices there. And I was thinking, this is kind of random, but you were talking about the care put into houses, and then I was thinking of, it would be careless. People care less. And then I was thinking, careful really isn't, it's not full of care. It's more like safety. So it didn't make sense in my head.
You lost me, Paul, but I like where you're going with it.
You're saying careless and careful are
They
not
should mean
opposite.
the opposite.
They don't.
They don't.
Like, you don't tell someone to...
It seems like careful should be full of care.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. Be careful.
Careful is like a safe, be careful means just don't walk on the edge of the path. You might hurt your little toe.
Be full of care that you don't
like
walk off the edge of the path.
Full of caution is what careful means. Anyway, it was random and had nothing to do with...
So while Jake and I were talking about...
The whole time, I was just playing that out in my head. But no, I heard you heard what I did with the website. I tied it all in.
Okay.
Right? There is a lot of things that happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Did you do the weather today, Paul? You didn't write it down, so I don't know if you know what the weather is.
I actually do. I checked it before we came on.
You don't have to write it down now.
You can just tell them. Well, Dan hasn't done it yet. And then watch this, Dan.
So it looks like today it's 83 degrees and partly cloudy.
Nice.
All right.
See, if he wouldn't have wrote it down, Daniel, he would have had to tell you that, and then you would have been repeating it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. And just be looking for things that we're doing. Look for our billboards. Check out our Instagram. We're teaming up with some amazing people. We're actually creating an A-team right now, and we're going to have the next 2 years is going to be really exciting. So watch out for the things we're doing. Good job, Jake and Dan.
Nice, Paul. Good job.
Thanks.